get in there, but no touch of gloves early. And again, you see Will Wu using the kicks. This is something new that he started. He was using low kicks and high punches in his fight against Murray Hunter. Big shot that came from Brian Crowe, though.
Yeah, Brian Crowe coming over the top with a right hand connected. Again, another kick to the midsection from Will Wu. That time a little higher up, caught him in the chest, Jeremy.
Yeah, just finding his range. Again, I don't think he's fully extended and dropping in to guard, but it didn't look like Brian Crowe wanted anything to do with it. And so Will Wu back up standing.
Punch to the midsection, answered with a kick. Again, both these guys very long, Jeremy. That one got through on Brian Crowe.
And just working these kicks continuously. It looks like Will Wu content to use the kicks to try and find the range, whereas Brian Crowe likes to get in and use the punches. Now Crowe pushing Will Wu up against the cage. Look how tall he is. His head is over the cage.
Yeah, both of them a little taller than our cage when fully extended. Brian Crowe has Will Wu up against the door there and is trying to find a gap in the defense of the 6'8" Will Wu.
The tough thing in amateur especially is you have a 3-minute round, so you have to really get the exclamation points just like that in the minds of the judges. You need to get them really quick. You can't wait and take your time. You have to get after it in a short 3-minute round.
Now again, no punches to the head of a downed opponent from here, so Brian Crowe will have to work that ground and pound to the torso of Will Wu. Wu trying to throw his legs up, trying to find a submission there. Crowe wisely getting both arms back in.
And some good length being shown, and you see that Will Wu has moved his arm in, and now Brian Crowe recognized the danger. It's a common sweep for taller fighters. They'll reach in and get the planted foot and try and come through and sweep through, and there's that sweep right there. And now Will Wu on top, and he is in the mount position. Brian Crowe trying to find a way out, but the mount is not really advantageous in the amateur division just because you can't punch to the face.
Yeah, Wu was trying to go for a choke there, but Crowe was able to back up and get away from it.
And their Darce is being slipped in by Will Wu, a very dangerous choke, and it's a safe choke because you don't put yourself in bad position while you're trying to secure it.
Now leaning back, putting some more pressure on that choke.
Modification on it.
And now Will Wu abandons the choke. Another punch to the torso. Good round for Brian Crowe here, Jeremy. This first 3 minutes in an amateur debut, very important. It's what he does with the 90 seconds of rest. Will Wu swept him out of it, but Crowe did end the round on top when Will Wu gave up the mount in order to try a choke. Another kick to the midsection. Crowe content to get kicked if he can come forward, landing a nice right hand over the top of the defense of Will Wu. Wu trying for the takedown, unable to get it.
Pressure forward here from Brian Crowe.
So Crowe now up against the cage. Nice takedown there, Jeremy. Just got the hands high up under the backside of Will Wu, driving him to the ground.
And again, that's good, solid technique, and being able to use the cage, and Will not able to get his legs back. You lock the hands under the butt like that, you're going to secure a takedown 9 times out of 10.
Wu now in the rubber guard.
Good flexibility from a guy that's this tall, and almost setting up an omoplata position. But Brian Crowe able to suss that one out, and he gets right out of that position.
And again, best intentions there, trying to roll over the omoplata. Not the easiest move to pull off here.
Well, especially when your legs are as long as it. It's almost like you want to be able to sneak out, and there's no sneaking when you're 6'8".
Back in the half guard, but Brian Crowe's been on top now for a while, Jeremy. And again, like you said, those exclamation points, landing shots to the body, it's not going to end the fight, but at the same time, it may also, it's putting in the minds of the judges that he's winning this round.
And it's all about showing dominance, especially with a 3-minute round. It's a 10-point must system. So if you're the more dominant fighter, you're going to win the round. And showing dominance in quick fashion is very important, and Brian Crowe's doing a great job of it so far in this fight.
Crowe continues to work from the top. Wu looking for a submission from the bottom, but unable to find one thus far. You can hear the coaches in the corner suggesting Crowe should stand up. Nice pass, though, as he got by.
Good work, and again, transitioning to mount. Brian Crowe working up in Edmonton, living up in Edmonton, where the rules for amateurs are different. So the mount is a good position for him there, but he now moves back into side control, and I'm going to think he's going to find himself more comfortable there under those rules, just because your bevy of options of attack are so much greater.
Well, again, when you're in the mount, it really removes knee strikes as an option for you. And now that they've stood right back up, the coaches in the corner of Brian Crowe suggesting that Will Wu's too tired to continue and to stand him up because he's got a better shot. Short time now, just a couple seconds left in round number 2.
So in a little bit of respect there, and back to the kicks. Will Wu using those side kicks to set up other strikes. This is good technique that he's able to stick to what he is comfortable with, trying to keep Brian Crowe away.
And a nice combination off the kick now. You see it when Wu lifts his legs up to kick. Crowe's hands drop to block, and that's when Wu's coming in with a couple punches.
Crowe immediately in on the double leg, has the hands locked, trying to get a little bit of pop, and there we go, a nice takedown from Brian Crowe, and there is blood on the back of Brian Crowe, so be interesting to see where that is coming from. And Brian Crowe able to slip out of the guillotine position, so a dominant top position for Brian Crowe, but he does have some work to do if he wants to erase that first 30 seconds, because Will Wu did do a ton of damage then.
Yeah, so far a Will Wu round, but nevertheless, Brian Crowe on top looking to change that. And stuff like this will certainly help. A dominant position, a mounted position, throwing opportunity, taking his opportunity for a submission attempt when he sees one. But in the meantime, I mean, there's not a lot of mustard on those punches right now, Jeremy, but he is in a dominant position.
Well, and this mount is like you mentioned, a really good dominant position, and Will Wu not doing much to advance his position away from this dominant position. He's not trying to shift his hips, trying to shrimp, but if you look in here, there's an arm triangle position from Brian Crowe, and it's very tight. Brian Crowe's going to look to slip off to the side. He wants to be on the same side as the choke to put the maximum amount of pressure on Will Wu.
Abandons the choke now. Again, blood coming from the nose of Will Wu, and more punches from the top. Again, nothing really strong, Jeremy, but nevertheless, it makes an impression, and that's all you're trying to do at this point in your amateur career, is get a win no matter how you get it, and making the impression that you're dominating the fight is a good way to take it home.
Well, and good work here. He's trying to slip in that rear naked choke, does have the left arm in, trying to work under the chin right now, right on the face of Will Wu, so not going to secure a choke, but if you can get on the chin, sometimes you don't necessarily need to get to the throat. A lot of pressure to the chin is enough to get a tap, especially this late in the fight.
So again, just 40 seconds remaining here, and unless Will Wu pulls off a submission from the bottom, it looks like Brian Crowe online to win his amateur debut here, Jeremy.
And you look at the legs of Will Wu, he's not shrimping, he's not trying to pressure through and trying to turn his body. Every time he turns his body, he doesn't use his legs to try and shrimp through and get through on the mount. So Brian Crowe doing a very good job. Look at the nice wide base that he has.
So just a few seconds remaining here. Brian Crowe, spending most of 2 rounds on top of Will Wu, will likely find himself the victor here as he steps off his opponent and helps him to his feet.